You are listening to Swamp Things, a podcast about University of Florida sports with the Orlando Sentinel's Edgar Thompson and the AP's Mark Long. Edgar and Mark discuss the goings-on with the Gators in Gainesville, where each is a longtime resident who has seen championship success, coaching turmoil, and plenty of drama on and off the field.
Greetings and welcome to Swamp Things, a podcast about the Florida Gators. It's November 10th, 2025. I'm Edgar Thompson of the Orlando Sentinel, joined by Mark Long of the Associated Press here in Gainesville. Chilly Gainesville, freeze warning, Arctic conditions coming here tonight, Mark.
You guys gonna be 30s, right? 30s?
28.
Wow.
I'm gonna turn on my faucet so the pipes don't burst. But I tell you what, Mark, there are bad losses, and then there's what happened Saturday night at Kentucky. I mean, just my eyes were bleeding by the end of that one. That was tough. They curb stomped the Gators 38-7. It's one of the worst losses, not only the Billy Napier era, because we're still in the Billy Napier era, even though Billy Gonzalez is, captain in his sinking ship to the finish line. One of the worst in program history. One of my friends, and he tends to be a little hyperbolic and prisoner of the moment. I mean, as I'm wont to do, said most embarrassed he's been in 52 years as a Florida fan. Look, Mississippi State, 2004 under Zook, as a team that losing to them, they've not won an SEC game under Sylvester Croom, lost to Maine 13-7. Pretty bad. The homecoming game in 2014, where Missouri scored on a kick, punt, return, pick six, scoop and score, and are up 42-0 on homecoming with Walt Muschamp trying to keep his job. That was pretty bad. Georgia Southern the year before was awful. Then you get the Jim McElwain Georgia game, where literally Georgia was just knocking them around like pinballs, 42-7. I mean, these are bad games. South Carolina, Dan Mullen, you're still thinking he's fighting for his job. Nope, turns out he wasn't. 40-14 in the sleet. So there have been some bad games, and Billy's had a couple himself. Arkansas, chaos on the sidelines. Well, the two performances in Lexington under Billy Napier are complete and abject failures that show how far this program has fallen. 71-21 combined scores in those two games. I mean, 50-point deficit to Kentucky in two games. Kentucky, that Steve Spurrier used to beat 65-0, 73-7, right? Now you're losing by a combined 50 points two times in Lexington in the Billy Napier era. I mean, they were actually leading this game 7-3, Mark. And then DJ Lagway continues, his, interception, string. He has 12 now, leads the SEC with 12 interceptions. This guy has 8. So he was finally benched, though, as this game unfolded. It's about time there. But I don't know what the heck happened, man. I mean, it's like you watched it. I don't know what you make of it.
Well, I seriously was surprised that DJ got benched, but I'm also, it was long overdue, right? And then I think the reality was I came away going, man, can you fire an interim coach? Because that was my real takeaway at the end. I was like, Billy Gonzalez needs to go, man. He's not getting it done. Let's try somebody else. Get Jaluk in there. Get anybody else to give him a try, because it wasn't working. Mike P, Steve Spurrier Jr., anybody not named Billy. I'm ready for a non-Billy led Gators performance.
Well, I like the non-Billy thing. That's funny. Billy Gonzalez, and this we can argue, you and I butt heads and contrary on everything a lot of the time. The guy's handling this with, I think, extreme professionalism. He's getting up there and just he's not shying away from stuff. He's not biting back. I don't know if there are any interim coaches. I thought Randy Shannon was terrible, personally. Didn't answer anything, wasn't engaging, wasn't energetic, didn't seem invested. At least this guy seems like he cares, right? I don't know. I don't know what you're expecting from an interim coach. I mean, this thing has gone off the rails. It's been off the rails, but now it's crashed and burned after that game.
I'm expecting them to compete against Kentucky. This isn't the Kentucky team of 2 years ago. This is the Kentucky team of 5 years ago. This isn't the Kentucky team that gave up back-to-back uncovered receivers, against Florida. This is a debacle of a Kentucky team that can't score points, hadn't beaten an SEC opponent at home since the last time Florida visited. This was a bad Kentucky team. Let's throw it out. Yes, they coming off a win against Auburn, 10-3, but that's an Auburn team that, was getting ready to fire its head coach. There was nothing good about this Kentucky team. You and I, last week, we tried to break it down. We struggled to come up with players to watch for Kentucky because they don't have a lot. They don't, they just don't. They don't in terms of a running game. They're not fantastic on defense. They're solid on defense, but certainly not SEC leading in any capacity. So that's my point, to go up there and allow that Kentucky team to score on 4 straight drives. The one thing that Florida football has done well, despite all the Billy Napierisms over the last 2 years, is play defense, right? At least in the last 16 months, 17 months. And, so play defense, and they didn't play any defense. It was a complete no-show. And I thought, to me, that was the most disappointing part of it all.
Well, let's prolong the disappointment a little bit longer and then move past that game. What was the turning point besides when they boarded the plane in Gainesville?
Yeah, no, I found this a little bit of it's kind of a turning stretch. Not necessarily there'd be one turning point, but it starts late in the second quarter. It's a 4th and 1 play. Kentucky's got 4th and 1. They're up 10-7. Kentucky's up 10-7. 4th and 1. Kendrick Law rushes right side. Picks up the first down. They score in the next play. Now it's 17-7. And that's a pretty significant drive that Kentucky had just put together. And then they follow that. Florida comes out and goes 3 and out. So now you throw a tired defense back on the field. Kentucky drives down and scores again. Game over. But that little section right there, you get them in 4th and 1. You don't get the stop at the 18-yard line. They score on the next play, and then the offense goes 3 and out. You're done. You're absolutely done. You put a winded defense on the road in tough, cold conditions, put them back out there, and, it's just a recipe for disaster. Somehow Florida had to, at that point, pick up a first down and get things kind of rolling back toward the offense, and they didn't. So to me, that it was over at that point.
Gators trailing 10-7. Okay. Get the ball in the 25, 8-yard ball up the middle, 6-yard completion. Ball then loses 2 on first down, but 12-yard completion on 2nd and 12 to Sturdivant from Lagway, right? Then you're moving a little bit. You're on the 49, 5-yard completion on the Kentucky 46. Katie Daniels fumbles the ball. Okay, so hold on. So Baugh, I get it. He lost a couple yards, a couple snaps earlier. Maybe he was slightly shaken up on that play. I don't know. It's hard to shake that guy up. I mean, the guy's made of titanium. I think he could play 8 quarters, much less 4. Strongest guy on the team. Set records that no one's had at Florida in the weight room, pound for pound. And yet you got Katie Daniels in there for some reason, running and fumbling and giving Kentucky the ball, which they immediately answer with a touchdown. Floodgates open from there. I thought it was I just don't know what the kid was in the game for. I know you're, think he's got some promise and stuff. You have one of the best backs in the league. Just made no sense to me. We'll give a little thumbs up here, though. Why don't you take it away there?
I'm going to give my thumbs up to Jaden Baugh. I mean, finished with 91 yards, 64 rushing, 27 receiving. It wasn't great. And, again, but it was about what other teams have averaged. I think 3.5 yards a carry against Kentucky. But, it was his fewest yards since having 46 on the ground against Miami in week 2. But this kid's he's been their workhorse really all year. The one guy you can kind of count on week to week. With 3 games to go in the regular season, probably 3 games to go, period. He's got 747 yards rushing, 906 yards from scrimmage, and he's on pace to become the first 1,000-yard scrimmage guy since
Kelvin Taylor.
Another Taylor. Sorry, Kelvin Taylor in 2015, who finished with 1,185. So yeah, he's been a bright spot. We've raved about him all year. It wasn't great, but it was the best of a bad day.
Lane Kiffin's going to get a lot out of him next year, especially the way he catches the football. His receiving skills are pretty elite for a tailback. He tracks the ball really well. My thumbs up is on benching DJ. It's been a long time coming. He should have at least had to come out and just settle down at LSU after the pick 6. It made no sense to me. Tramell Jones, just a couple games earlier against Long Island, had played really well, sharp. Put him in. Let him settle things down. You lose that game 20-10. LSU, you could have. I'm not saying they win that game, but they could have gotten something out of a drive with Tramell Jones potentially. You start creating a quarterback controversy early in the season. DJ follows it up with 61 yards at Miami. Plays pretty well against Texas. Really good first quarter at A&M. Then was just under pressure all night and not good. And that was a difficult situation, of course. But and then Mississippi State, some flashes. But that's all it's been this year. Some flashes and maybe one solid game. That's it. And he was awful the other night. Shaken, rattled, no confidence, 83 yards passing, 3 picks. It was a no-brainer. Now, I get it. It's tough. But Billy Gonzalez made a statement and just said, look, we're trying to win a football game or at least look competent in losing and not allowing that to go on. So credit to Billy Gonzalez. I don't know what DJ's future holds, and I think we'll be getting to that as this pod goes on. But, another rough night for Lagway, man. As I said, 12 interceptions, leads the SEC, and by a good margin. Thumbs down, Mark. I'll go ahead and lead. It's sticking with Lagway. I'm sorry, and this is nothing personal, and I get it. The kid's making a pile of money. He's the face of your program. You had all these high hopes for him. It hasn't been working, and he needs to be torn down to the studs during this offseason. Get healthy, trim down, get his footwork straight, and build this kid back up. And I think shedding some of his supporting cast, let's say, he's not getting the right coaching. He's not getting the right advice. He's not getting the right physio, whatever it is. It's not going in a good, it's not trending in a good direction, but they stuck with this guy. I had a coach reach out to me yesterday, Mark, okay, who's built championship programs, okay, championships. And he said, by sticking with this kid, when he's looked so bad, he's kind of getting away with it. And in any other sport, you don't play if you're performing that way. And his teammates know it, and it is bad for culture. You have a counterpoint.
Yeah, that's fair. But I'll say this, coming from the NFL, and now the college is certainly going to the NFL. When you draft guys first overall, and that's what DJ essentially is, a first overall draft pick, and you pay him what they're paying him, he's the highest paid guy on the team. It is hard, really hard to have that guy on the bench. The expectations are immense. He's obviously had injury issues. I think these guys feel that, understand that. I don't know where they're at with him. We can't get anybody to say whether they're done with DJ, but I would just say that is a hard. It wouldn't be appropriate. It wouldn't, but it's a hard thing to do in a program, is to bench a guy making that kind of money. And I just think it's a little bit of a slippery slope. You send a guy out the door. Now, college football there's a reckoning going on. Like, how do you get from where we've been to where we're going? And right now it's like where we're at, and right where we're at's not really working. So it's you got to get, if you're really going to go full NFL, you're going to have to rip off the Band-Aid here and do some things like this, like bench a guy who's making $3 million a year. It's insane, or it seems insane, but it's one of those things that's going to have to be done. And that's why Billy Napier wouldn't do it, but certainly Billy Gonzalez can.
Well, let me follow up real quickly, because this is obviously, this is as big a discussion as anything today and after this game. Billy Gonzalez paralleled it to baseball, whereas your starting pitcher struggling, you come out, he even showed the arm pat, like you pat him on the arm, hand me the ball, and better luck next time. He's looking at it that way. Hey, it wasn't your day. You're our starter. You're out. He's looking at it that way, right? Now it's different. You have a lot more games and you have a lot more options in baseball, right? You have a lot more pitchers. You had 2 quarterbacks here to choose from, and you're choosing the true freshman over the sophomore. But if he's looking at it that way, which he is, you're off tonight, bad night for you. You're coming out, better luck next time. I don't know that you're really making a statement like we're moving on from you. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it was a bad analogy in terms of it's apples and oranges. There's nothing. There's no comparison to baseball and football. But he went down on a long path when he sat down and talked to Lagway about it and explained it to us. It was a pretty in-depth conversation about baseball and what it means and what it says and all that. The reality is, if Tramell Jones hasn't taken starter reps and you're throwing him in to be the starter, the guy's at a disadvantage. You're doing a disservice to him. What Tramell Jones really needs is to start a game and be given starter reps all week and be like, hey, this is your game. Boom, go do it, man. You've had starter reps all week. You looked great. You've built a confidence and a camaraderie with whatever receivers we have left, and boom, it's you roll with it. And to not do that, to me, is setting the kid up for failure. So what you can't let happen is have DJ's struggles now become Tramell Jones's struggles, because you're putting Tramell Jones in an awkward or a position where he's not ready to succeed. The guy absolutely needs to, if he's going to be given a good look here, he needs to get it from Monday through Saturday, not Saturday at halftime to Saturday at 9 p.m. and then he's back to being the backup.
No, and I agree, and I think he has been getting some first-team reps to that point. I think, in fact, Billy said, Napier said a while back he was getting some. So he hasn't just been like playing on the scout team or anything. He's getting first-team reps. They're not all DJ. He's gotten some. But,
okay, I know he got some back in camp.
No, I think after the LIU game, Billy was talking about it. I think they're giving him some work with the first team.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure of it. But regardless, you make a great point. If they're not giving him any first team reps this week at all, and then trying to throw him in, then that's coaching malpractice. But what do you have for your thumbs down?
Yeah, mine's easy. It's a defensive no-show. I've touched on it already. 233 yards rushing, 401 total yards to a Kentucky team that just hasn't been good all year. Came out, a field goal and 3 touchdowns on Kentucky's first 4 possessions. To me, from afar, from a 30,000-foot view, it looked like they didn't want to be there. It looked like they gave up. It looked like they had a complete lack of effort. And to be totally honest, Billy Gonzalez countered that today and said that wasn't the case. But then if you go listen to Devin Moore, he said absolutely. It looked like people were giving up on trying to tackle, chasing the play, whatever. So when your players are saying it looked like a lack of effort, your head coach is, or your interim coach is saying the opposite, it's a fair question mark there. But not enough pressure on Cutter Boley. 18 of 23 for 168 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. At one point, he completed 11 consecutive throws. Miles Graham summed it up pretty well. You can be accurate when there's no pressure on you. Just mental busts on defense, guys not being where they need to be. We just didn't do our job. So, it was really, that's the one thing, and I touched on it already, the one thing they've done well all season, almost the one thing you're banking on. And if the defense doesn't show up, I don't think this team has any shot of beating anybody.
Yeah, Cutter Boley was down there in DJ land with QB rating coming into the game too. So 11 straight completions, is not something that young man's done often, if ever.
Yeah.
Did it against the Gators. Second guess, what you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go early in the game. Kentucky's only up. Kentucky's up 3-0, right? And I don't have any problem. In fact, I want to laud Billy Gonzalez for going for it on a 3rd and 5 at the Kentucky 41-yard line and taking a deep shot. 3rd and 5, play action, deep to Mizell. Pass gets broken up, but I love the play call because Billy Napier would have ran the ball on 3rd and 5 and ran the ball on 4th and 5, right? And tried to get it that way. Billy on 3rd and 5, play action over the top, beautiful call. The problem I have is then on 4th and 5, the 41, he's punting. Listen, this is house money. You are trying to do something here, not only just keep the team together, but do something other that the other guy didn't do. I would have, pedal to the metal, throttle down. I would have been going for it right there on 4th and 5. This is Kentucky, not the Baltimore Ravens from 2000, 2001. I would have, taken another swing, making it, trying to go deep, do something, anything, pick up the first down for whatever. But again, have a different mentality. Try to get a knockout blow. That's what this program lacks, is anybody with any kind of real punching power trying to take a knockout blow, and it has to be fixed sooner rather than later.
I think that was a little Freudian slip there. Take another swig in the land of sour mash. And anybody in the stands there who doesn't have a plug in the jug would have been taking more than a swig during that game. My Lord,
yeah, a plug in the jug. I haven't heard that in a long time.
So I'll tell you, man. My second guess is, okay, Mark, you're coming into a game. 2 of your top 4 receivers are out. You're a young player trying to make your mark. You have talent. Fastest guy on the team, one of them. It's like, yeah, man, it's my time to shine, maybe. No, instead, Tank Hawkins decides to opt out. Okay. So he goes and tells Billy Gonzalez, who Billy said he's very, 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 very professional about it. And he supports it absolutely 100%. Very, very something or another. So when you got all these, it's like, what's the expression? Don't protest too much. But it's the opposite. It's like he's so overly supportive that it's like, I don't think he's very, 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 very happy with some guy who's been coaching for 2 years, just completely pulling the ripcord on the season, man. It's like, come on, Tank. It's like this guy came here with a lot of hype. He's a jet. He's fast. He got open. DJ missed him at Georgia. It was a big opportunity there. Maybe he's just like, I'm sick of playing with this guy. I mean, after that throw, maybe that's why he opted out. Then I'm suddenly, okay, I kind of get it. But it's like Dallas Wilson's out. Trey Wilson's out. Trey Wilson's having season-ending surgery on Wednesday. Second season in a row, shut down by injury and surgery. And here's your time, man. You had 3 games to go, and you would have had a 4th if you played in this one. Do something. Go out there and make a statement. Show what you got. Instead, he's going to show up to practice and collect his check at the end of the season, which to me, it's like, sorry, I'm almost like putting a new lock on his dorm room and getting his key code changed. I mean, you're done. You opted out. See ya.
I think that's fair. I think it's ridiculous that they're going to continue to pay this kid based on him opting out. You quit, especially when you're down Dallas Wilson, Trey Wilson already. You never got back Khalil Jackson.
And Vernell was hurt coming before that game.
VB3's been hurt. Aiden Mizell's been hurt.
Yeah.
It is a. I mean, Sturdivant has missed a game, I believe, right? I think he's missed a game this year.
He had a concussion. I don't know. Maybe he missed one.
I think he did. So, yeah, it's just it doesn't make any sense, and I certainly wouldn't pay him. But what I will say is, not to defend Billy Gonzalez too much here, but this guy's in a tough spot, right? He's trying to do right by these guys, and doing right by Tank Hawkins is paying him and letting him keep his redshirt and keep a year of eligibility. So I get that. It's a lost cause. It's a lost season. And Billy Gillespie's just trying to do right and make everybody happy for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah. Billy Gonzalez, not Gillespie. I love how you like praise him. You're like perfect. It's like you praise him and cut him. Get him out of here. I just will say it again. The guy has been a total pro. He clearly is invested. And he's getting up there and just it's a terrible position to be in. Worst job in America.
Dude, and we'll get into this in a minute, but I mean, he got up there today and he got peppered by you and me about whether Lane Kiffin is the right guy for the Florida job, which is his current position. I mean, like that is like, it is an unbelievable situation that he's been put in here, but to be peppered on those at that front and him handle it so gracefully is really a testament to him. But again, I still, question some of the things he's doing.
I followed him at the door and shook his hand. I've known the guy 20 years as of you. He got here in 2005. I've known Billy for 20 years now. He's a good guy. And I walked up and shook his hand and said, I appreciate your professionalism. He goes, I'm trying. And I mean, right. It's like, what do you do? And what do we do here? Game ball. How are we giving game balls out to this thing? I'm giving one to Cam James on a defense that just got absolutely just filleted, but he has been a bright spot of late. He's certainly supplanted Tyreek Sapp at that position in the end. I've thought Cam James, I've said on this pod many times, based on just sheer eyeball test in his freshman year, you could see the length, the get off, the potential. He spoke earlier this year. He's very impressive the way he carries himself. Talking about basketball, he's like the best dunker on the team at like 6'6", 275 or something. This guy's an athlete. He had a sack the other night, 6 tackles. He's still playing well, and that was the only sack they had the whole game. They couldn't get pressure on this kid, Foley, at all. They had one hurry otherwise, and that was from a defensive back. So Cam James has played pretty well, and if I'm Lane Kiffin coming in next year, he's a guy I'm trying to retain.
Sure. I can't believe we're both going to have giving game balls to defensive players. I mean, the reality here is that Ball would be the game ball, but we already, lauded him as a thumbs up. So I'll give it to Sharif Denson, 11 tackles, 9 solos, which again, not great that any defensive back is getting 9 solos. That means some of that stuff's getting on the back end, though he plays a lot on the line of scrimmage.
He does play,
but but 9 solos for anybody, whether it's a linebacker, middle linebacker, or an undersized safety like he is. He's an undersized safety, a little bit of a tweener. He had a good game. 11 tackles, 9 solos. He deserves a game ball.
Look, bottom line is, listeners, anyone who played football, anyone who didn't should realize it's hard. Tackling's hard, especially in space. And 9 solo tackles is impressive, even if the rest of your team is like laying down like dogs. So, Mark, why don't you pick up that Lane Kiffin thread? Because Billy's banner, we're not going to Saturday night. I wasn't there. You weren't there. And I think he talked for a total of 4 minutes and like 50 seconds. So what do you got from Billy Gonzalez on Monday?
Yeah, I like that Billy stood up there and answered a bunch of questions about Lane Kiffin. I mean, he understands that this is where we're at, that this is where the fans are at. I talked to somebody, close to the program over the weekend, and and they said, listen, when the fan base is all on, when it's Lane Kiffin or bust, that is impossible to ignore for Scott Strickland. Impossible. And that Scott has warmed up the Lane, and that everybody believes it's going to be Lane. The key boosters want Lane. The majority of the fans, at least the vocal majority, want Lane. The students want Lane. I drove by the SAE house today, Sigma Alpha Epsilon, and they have their big lion outside, and it's painted orange and blue, and it says Kiffin to the swamp in big bright letters underneath. So, this is a movement, right, to get Lane Kiffin. And the last thing you want to do is look like you're not, on board with the movement or doing your part to get the movement done. So it does feel like, everybody's trending toward Lane Kiffin, and Billy Gonzalez kind of even acknowledged it today. And I thought it was, classy of him. And he talked about what a great coach he is. He talked about some of the offense they've done. And eventually you and I peppered him to the point where he basically said, I'm not even sure. When I asked him, what kind of a fit would this guy be? I mean, here he is. He wears a visor because of Steve Spurrier. He met his wife at the University of Florida. They had the first date, I believe, at the Swamp. She's a Florida grad. There's a lot.
John Reeves.
Yeah, daughter of John Reeves. So there's a lot there. But finally, he said, I probably shouldn't even answer those questions, to be honest with you, talking about Lane to Florida. I think it was got a little uncomfortable for him, but still pretty impressive. And even players, I think Jaden Ball even kind of hinted at it, that, hey, he's aware that this is what's going on, that there's a lot of people wanting Lane Kiffin, but he didn't want to get into anything about his maybe what he would bring or how he would fit in with that.
Yeah, Ball didn't go there on many things today. He just said all he's trying to do is focus on himself and the team playing well. I'll say this. You remember when Joe Gibbs didn't even know who Ollie North was?
Yeah.
This? I mean, he'd sleep in his office. He'd get in such a bunker, Joe Gibbs, to an unhealthy level, right? I mean, the guy got out of coaching because it was like killing him. And now he's just become a Hall of Fame car owner at NASCAR. But the point being, and he's a hard driving dude, even at 84 years old or whatever he is now. But Billy at least acknowledged that he knew this was like the narrative. Some of these coaches, a lot of them would have said, I'm not talking about that, or I'm not paying attention to that. We got bigger things to worry about. He's like, no, I absolutely realize that this is what's being discussed, and that's just how it is. So credit to him again. I'll say this. When I asked him did he think the team gave up, for lack of a better phrase, he said, great question. That was my main concern. As I got off the airplane, he watched both sides, offensive, defensively. And then came back in the morning and watched it again. I mean, my Lord, it's like watching Sharknado like 9 times in a row, or the worst movie you can think of. I mean, I never even watched Sharknado. Maybe it's good, but just a bad movie on, loop. And he's watching it again. And then he asked his coaches, and he said people did not think their players were quitting. They were loafing. I think he might unfortunately have to watch the film maybe one more time. But there was maybe some loafing. I'm not saying they were quitting. It's tough, man. It's a tough position to be in. But I think there might have been some loafing, maybe not outright quitting. But I just found it interesting. He addresses it was a long answer. He went through it meticulously and just concluded they didn't quit. So for what it's worth, fans, I'm not so sure. Locker room, I'm going to go with our guy, Devin Moore. He's a breath of fresh air every time a young man speaks. He's just always so like upbeat, and he's just got great, like just a great vibe, man. Right. And I'm like, what keeps you going? And he's just like, gratitude, man. You got to just be grateful, keeping a sense of gratitude. A lot of kids and people our age, not just your age, Devin, they dream to be in this position. And we're so blessed nowadays, the resources that people didn't have in the past. And with that comes responsibility and accountability. It's our job to show up every day, work hard, and put a good product in the field. They're not doing the last part of that very well, at least this last game. But just having gratitude at that age and recognizing that you should. And that's something all of us should remind ourselves of at every day of our lives, right? It's hard to remember. And here's a young man who's got it all, probably has an NFL future. And I just thought it was very mature.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jaden Baugh talking about DJ Lagway. He said Lags is a good player. We've seen a lot of flashes from Lags, and then he actually talked about a throw to Sturdivant. He's just got to keep his head into it, honestly. It's been a rough season, having to deal with a lot of things as being a top quarterback. That's a lot of pressure. Getting him to understand that we're still here. We're here fighting with him. That's all it is. So, he understood that they're sticking with this guy. He's going to stick with Lagway, and he made it very clear that he's in his corner and hoping for the best. So I thought that was pretty grown up, professional, and well handled.
I mean, Billy Napier's brought in a lot of good young men. I got to say, we've said it on here, and now they're not putting everyone out in front of us. Maybe there's some that wouldn't be showing much gratitude or support for DJ. You don't know. There's a lot of kids in that locker room, but the ones that we speak with, and I'm not saying that they're like censoring or editing guys, don't get that impression, but the kids who come out and speak to us, or young men that come out and speak to us, most all of them have been pretty impressive, I got to say, and just the way they handle themselves. I can't imagine being up in front of a camera or a microphone at 19, 20, 20 years old. I mean, this is, now that we're Swamp Things on YouTube, I was joking with Mark the other day. I get a little more nervous because now that we're on this like YouTube thing, it's like, this isn't even live streamed, and it's a little different than when you're just like, looking at each other and you're just screaming into a microphone. So these guys are pretty impressive young men, I got to say. What's your final thought, Mark?
Yeah, my final thought is this could be DJ's final start. And, you got to look at this. Okay, now they've benched him during the game. They're going to go back to him. If they bench him again, I don't know, man. Tennessee's coming up, Florida State. You got 2 home games. To be honest, DJ's been shielded by the hate for Billy Napier for a long time, for the better part of this year. DJ's kind of been, the forgotten, kind of sitting in the shadows there and stinking it up. Well, guess what? There'll be nobody shielding DJ Lagway from the hostile Florida crowd against the Tennessee Vols in 2 weeks. So I would think this is his final chance. If he goes and gets benched again, or he goes and struggles at Ole Miss, if I'm Billy Gonzalez, I come back and I don't put DJ Lagway back in front of the Swamp. I don't do that to him. I don't do that to his confidence. I don't do that for the fans. I don't do that for the program. I don't do that for anybody. I give the fans what they want. They want to see Tramell Jones. Give them Tramell Jones. Let's give Tramell Jones an entire week. Let's give Tramell Jones an entire start. Let's give Tramell Jones a chance against the Tennessee Volunteers. So I really do believe it's trending that way. We'll see, but that's where I think it's headed.
Yeah, it really sucks for DJ too, because talking to his representatives and stuff earlier this year, just he loves playing in the Swamp, is what this guy said. That was a huge selling point for DJ coming here. There were some zeros to that selling point too, but there was a lot of zeros. But he loves playing in the Swamp, and that would be taking something away from him, and it would be a real sign that like his days probably in Gainesville are numbered. Look, it's finally here, Mark. Lane Kiffin week. It's all Lane this week. I'm heading to Oxford. I'm going to comb the Grove, talk to fans, hope I don't get beaten to a pulp because Florida is coming to poach their coach. And I'm very interested to see how Florida fans are received and also how Florida fans react when Ole Miss gets it rolling, because it will. The Rebels offense is potent, and Lane Kiffin is ruthless, and he's a brilliant play caller and play designer. They are going to score a lot of points in this game, and he may not let off the gas. So it will be interesting to see if they start piling on the Gators, if Florida fans even start cheering Ole Miss. The dynamic's going to be crazy. It's going to be interesting. We're going to be writing about it all week leading up, during, and after. So but we've been waiting for this week for a while.
What game was it where the student section started doing the Gator chomp to Lane Kiffin? Was it Oklahoma?
Yes.
I believe it was. It was Oklahoma. And Ole Miss won 34-26. Good game. But, yeah, the Oklahoma fans started doing the Gator chomp. I find it interesting. Would that happen to Lane again, wherever they're headed? I know they've got this stretch at home, but I think they finished with the Egg Bowl. Will Mississippi State fans be doing the Gator chomp to Lane Kiffin?
They're going to be swinging those cowbells and trying to ruin their
true.
season. So let's end here on Foley's Corner, a weekly nod to the former athletic director whose focus on all-around excellence is still being felt. We talked to Todd Golden a little bit earlier. Florida State comes in tomorrow night. He's kind of taken over that rivalry. Florida had lost 8 straight in the rivalry from 2014 to 20, 20 being the Keontae Johnson nightmare game. And Mike White did get a win in 2021, which kind of showed Leonard Hamilton's program was in decline pretty big time because that Mike White team barely made the NIT or whatever that year. So Todd has taken it and run with it. First game at Tallahassee, down 19 points, and they come back and beat Leonard and the Seminoles. And now Leonard Hamilton is retired. Gone with him is that defensive-minded, kind of hard-nosed, beat you to the punch kind of style, putbacks. And, they've obviously had some talented shooters and things too, but they haven't been a team that's rooted in offense. And now you got this guy. I don't even want to try to pronounce his last name. How do you pronounce it?
Luke Lauk. Luke Lauk.
So Lauk, 35-year-old, NBA background, coming in here, and they are just letting it fly, man, in Tallahassee. 70-plus shots in each of their first 2 games, just raining threes, line up with 5 seniors, bunch of transfers, some talented players, and it should be an interesting game. And I asked Todd if it's going to be a contrast in styles because the Gators are now kind of, front line focused more after a 40 rebound advantage the other night and a score record 29 offensive rebounds against North Florida. And he said, that's oversimplifying it, but we're going to try to play more organized and then more chaotic. I'm looking forward to the game. I haven't looked forward to a Florida State game in a bit because they were really kind of circling the drain for a while under Leonard. But I think tomorrow night could be an interesting game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Excuse me. I'm with you on that. I don't think it's going to be terribly close, but as Billy Donovan said 20-something years ago, 3-point line is a great equalizer. So you're going to go shoot 40 or 50 from the 3-point line, and that's an ACC record. They shot up 4. They got 47 3-pointers. Was an ACC record that had stood for a long, long time. So
they're going 40 years at least. The 3-point line went in 40 years ago.
And so Florida, I think their size and their length and their athleticism is going to give Florida State all kinds of issues. And they certainly can run with anybody in the country with Boogie Flan and Xavier Lee in the backcourt and Tommy Houck on the wings and Condon and Henlogden and all those guys. So I think Florida will wear them down and really just pound them into submission. But again, I've seen Billy Donovan do this before. You trade 3s for 2s. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that math if you're changing trade 3s for 2s.
Yeah, it's just another chance to see this team continue to come together, find itself. Todd toy with lineups, figure out how he's ultimately going to want to play. And I made the point to him. Someone noted to me that Boogie Flan, the Gators average 1.27 points per possession when he's on the floor, and that's really elite. And this isn't a Walter Clayton clone. This isn't a shot maker. This isn't a guy who's going to wow you on the offensive end. He needs to pick it up on the offensive end. But in 50 minutes plus, as Todd pointed out, he has 0 turnovers. It's pretty impressive and should be celebrated, I think Todd even said. And that he is going to continue to kind of learn how to work with these guys. And, I've maybe rushed to judgment on the kid a little bit. I don't find him to be as dynamic as I was expecting, but I also think he's finding his way, and there's maybe not quite as much space to operate in as Walter had last year. And he certainly, Walter Clayton's skill set was singular. So there's another player on campus who has a pretty impressive skill set. Mark, tell us about her.
Yeah, Liv McGill playing for the women's team, and she's lighting it up through 2 games. She was good last year as a freshman, sophomore from Minneapolis, I believe. 5'8", 5'9". She's got a ton of speed, but she got 64 points in 79 minutes through 2 games. So she's playing basically the entire game. 64 points, 8 of 17 from 3-point range, to go along with 17 rebounds, 19 assists, 9 turnovers, which, got to get those cut down, but also 12 steals. She is absolutely getting it done, and people are sleeping on her. We talked to Coach Kelly Ray Finley today, and she said people are sleeping on her all around the country. People are sleeping on her, and she's like, "That's fine, let them sleep." So she won't. People, if she continues this, obviously, no one will be sleeping on her. She's averaging 32 points a game, and they play tonight.
Well, I asked her about the turnovers, and she said she's got the ball in her hands so much that's going to happen. Interestingly, Kelly Ray Finley is from Minnesota, and her father coached Liv McGill as an AAU. So there was that connection to get a recruit like that down here. Now, and they had to really work hard, I heard, behind the scenes to keep her, because she was going to command a hefty NIL payday at another school. And she's here. She's fun to watch. I haven't seen the team play yet this year. And Mark was there when she had 38 the other night. I was tied up with something else. But she was fun, I thought, to watch last year. Very, very dynamic player. Her shot probably needs to extend a little bit. Maybe she's improved that. I haven't seen her yet. But
8 of 17 from 3, so she's close to
improved
50%. Yeah.
Well, she's improved it immeasurably, because she was a driver and distributor. Excellent player, though. Thanks for the conversation, Mark.
Thanks for having me, as always.
Also want to thank our faithful producer, Wesley Alden, for continued efforts. The 3 of us appreciate everyone who took time from their busy lives to join us. Until next time.
Thank you for listening to Swamp Things, your Florida Gators podcast. For more coverage, visit OrlandoSentinel.com and APnews.com. On Twitter, follow Edgar at OSGators and Mark at APMarkLong. Please subscribe to this podcast, share it on social media, and review it on iTunes. See you next time.